Okay, there's often a question of how many pre-release singles should you do? Now, I think it's kind of genre dependent. For some genres like experimental music or classical music, singles don't really have that much of an impact. But there are a couple things that you should keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is, why do we release singles ahead of time? Well, we release singles ahead of time to give people a teaser of the album, to give them a preview if we want them to pre-order, or to get excited about it, or to start anticipating the record, or maybe to buy the vinyl ahead of time. And so that's one of the reasons why. But we also, in the world of playlisting and Spotify playlisting and third-party playlisting, we like to give each song or a few songs its own day in the sun and its own chance to be pitched to Spotify editorial teams. And so there's a couple reasons why we have pre-release singles. There's also concerns though. People say, I don't want to give away half of the album or 80% of the album, so by the time that the record comes out, then everyone's heard the record and there's no reason for them to go out and check it out. So there is some truth to that. But I think in this whole, for me, in this whole playlisting world, I do want to make sure that songs get their special day in the sun. We did a record a couple years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago now. We only released one single, and that was in the early Spotifying days, and playlisting Spotify days. And it actually got picked up in some great playlists and got over 100,000 plays in the first couple of weeks. And all of the other songs, by the time the record came out, we didn't release those as singles, and they didn't really get many plays. And compared to that single we released, and looking back, I had wished that there was 2 or 3 other great, like really good songs on that record that I wish that we had given their day in the sun. And so, you know, I think it's important. I would say the ideal number is between 2 to 3. I work in the singer-songwriter genre, which tends to do a little bit better on playlists. So I actually lean a little bit more to the 4 or 5 singles. There's something you got to keep in mind. If you're worried about giving away too much, there's a lot of different listeners out there. There's active listeners who may not even check out the singles. They may listen to the song once, but then save that experience for when they get the whole album or when they get it on vinyl or CD in their car. And then there's passive listeners who may never even check out the album, and they're just going to enjoy the singles. And so we have to kind of accommodate for both crowds. And so I think there's nothing wrong with doing between 2 to 3 singles. I don't like the idea of doing one single. And I probably wouldn't do many more than 5 singles. So I hope you found that helpful. Think about how it works with your genre and what the band and what the artists want to do. But I think it's really important when an album has a couple or a handful of really standout tracks to make sure that they get their day in the sun. They get their own special day where we're going to promote that single. Maybe the band's going to do an in-studio performance of it, or maybe you have a music video made for it. So make sure you consider that. Thanks for watching. Go to otherrecordlabels.com/marketing to download my checklist.